Good evening, August the 19th, 6:26 in the evening. I am Mike Giardi. He is Will Parkinson. You're watching the All 32 podcast, a proud member of the CLNS Media Network, and of course brought to you by the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. That'll be PrizePicks. Download today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 when you play your first 5. PrizePicks, run your game. The two of us have been running around like madmen today, so we are just going to get right to it. No chit-chat, no small talk. Let's go. First things first. A lot of talk about the Patriots being interested in a number of these available hold-in players: Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, Terry McLaurin, Josina Anderson. Other people have talked about it. Will, you texted me and you said, after seeing Elliott Wolf's comments on Monday, in which he said, like, yeah, we're talking all 31 teams, and we'll do what we think can make our team better. And if that means giving up or one or two, and I'm sort of lumping these all together as quotes, then we do it. You were like, this would be stupid. Why do you think it'd be stupid?
I just don't know if the timelines match up. I mean, if you feel like you truly feel like you could go win the division this year, which I'm not saying every team should feel that way, and again, like, whatever. But if you really internally self-evaluate yourself and say, Mike Vrabel, Elliott Wolf, Robert Kraft are sitting in a room and say, what's our expectations this year? What do we – if we leave, at the end of December, where are we going to feel good about? We want to be a playoff team. Great. Does Trey Hendrickson make you a Super Bowl team? I don't know that you can say that yet. And I'm not, again, you can always do this whole game of when can you really say you are a team or not a team? But don't you want to see one more year of Drake before you do the all-in, we're going to pay a 31-year-old $40 million a year and give up a first-round pick? Because, there is this small chance that Drake doesn't get better in year 2. He's kind of the same guy. And a couple of the veterans aren't as good as we thought they were going to be. And Christian Gonzalez misses 6 weeks. And the Patriots win 6 games. And it's like, dude, we just gave up the 9th overall pick. And now we're locked into Trey Hendrickson for 3 more years, and he fell off a cliff. Like, that's a real thing. If you feel like, especially with McLaurin, he's the one that at least I would be like, okay, I understand the concept. We have a young quarterback. We're going to pay it. To go pay Hendrickson to me while he fits, and I get it, and he'd be a great player this year. I just don't know that, I don't know, it's going out and trading for a relief pitcher when you're a 500 baseball team. And it's like, hey, we could get hot here, and this prospect does well, right? The Red Sox kind of at the deadline were like, we're going to add guys for multiple years to come. We'll get rid of big I don't know. Mike, I think they're 6 months away from that type of move in a 2-year window. I think the Patriots have time because Drake May is on a rookie deal.
Well, let's first talk about the financials of this. And I am not a huge salary cap believer. You can do
this now.
You can, but they are over the cap for next year. Okay, just right now as of this moment. And I think the plan, and Mike Vrabel talked about a 2-year. They look at the cap in 2-year windows, 2-year pockets. They spent $197 million guaranteed dollars in free agency this offseason. So they spent a crap ton of money. A lot of the contracts that they signed 2 off seasons ago, to the Nwenus, the Kyle Duggars, who might not even be on the team, the variety of guys, Ramondre Stevenson, that they extended. The big number on those contracts kicks in next year. They also would be looking at a Christian Gonzalez situation where if he does have another really good year, he is now extension eligible. You don't have to do it right away, but the general consensus is you want to do it right away because probably the next year, if he has another good year, the price just went up another $10 million. So look at it from the financial standpoint where I think they want to roll over as much money as possible for year 2 of this beginning of the Mike Vrabel era. And then to me, I think your point is a valid one on the timeline. Is there a potential for them to be a playoff team? We've talked about it. If you're around 8 wins, which is what we both kind of think that's the range, then if you steal another game somewhere, somebody gets hurt and you win a game you didn't expect and you were 10, you're in. And that's awesome. That'd be incredible, right, for the team. But that doesn't mean you're a team that can win right now. So if you're going to trade for Trey Hendrickson and you're going to give up a 1 and they want a player, a young defensive player.
It's not just going to be Duggar.
Right. No, it wouldn't.
It's more than that.
The report is out on Duggar across the league. Yeah. He's not moving.
Teams are not stupid. They see a guy playing. Everyone's like, oh, give him a day 3 pick, guys.
No,
he needs a ton of money, and he's playing at the end of 4th quarter games. That means that everyone else in the league is watching the same tape that everyone else is.
Yeah, they don't want a 29-year-old player either. So people get confused.
That ankle, hell no.
to me, the guy that would make some sense would be Keon White, right? You're replacing a position that you're trading the guy from, but yet they're not on the same level. They're not even close.
What about Harold Landry? No.
And in fact, by the way, just quickly, Keon White, the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, August 18th and 19th, has been demoted to the second team. Could just be a wake-up call for him, or it could be Chaseon's been the better player all summer, and we're not waiting anymore for you to get it. This is what we're going to do. Chaseon, by the way, a few days younger than Keon White, even though Chaseon's in year 6, Keon White in year 3. But so Hendrickson thing, I guess they called, as what Justina said, they called, and they thought the price was too much.
Is the most likely that could get moved, and we'll talk about the Bengals, but it's just because of it's so like tumultuous there, and they clearly don't want to pay him at all. Whereas like McLaurin is the leader in that locker room, and Micah,
is a top 10 player ish. And
again, if the Patriots went on traded for him, like, hey man, but like at the same time, it almost makes you think like, why don't we just trade up a pick with the Giants for Abdul Carter at that point, who's a similar, I don't know. To me, it'd be like
you could twist it. Look, I get it. I get the quality of the players that we're talking about. I mean, Micah Parsons at 26. But you're not getting Micah Parsons for just a 1. You're getting
two ones and 2 and Barmore.
And then $160 million guaranteed.
And again, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Maybe it is worth it. Keon White, Barmore, and 2 1s. Like, sure. But what if Micah gets banged up? Now your defense is screwed. Like, I don't know. It's.
And there's an interesting part of this, too, is that you immediately, and this is something that Belichick used to have the internal salary cap, if you will. And I think Vrabel sort of subscribes to this, that you want to pay the guys that not only are your best players, when you pay those guys and you pay them big money, their clout goes up. The people in the locker room look at him and go, that's the $25 million a year player. That's the $30 million a year player. How come he's leaving early? Well, if the $35 million a year player can leave early, why can't I? I'm not dogging Micah. He's not like a terrible human being or anything, but like there have been some questions about his overall commitment, right? So even though he's awesome, some people think he could be a lot more awesome. If that's even a thing. If he actually just devoted a little bit more time to it, did that instead of do his podcasts, those sorts of things. So I would be, it's crazy to say for a talent that size, but to give up all that and then plunk him in the middle of your locker room, you better be sure that he's the guy that can lead that room. And I don't think anyone thinks at this juncture with Micah Parsons, he can lead that room.
Last thing I'll say in this, I think the Patriots are better suited to wait until the deadline because a lot of these guys, first of all, a lot of them aren't contenders. And if the Bengals fall apart, they don't get Hendrickson comes back in and they're like, hey, dude, we're not paying you. You got to start playing. He's not going to waste the year. And the Bengals are 3-4. And it's like, hey, we're not going anywhere. And he's just like, you still haven't paid me. Then go trade for him because, hey, we started out 5-3, man. We actually feel really good about the roster. Drake looks really good. Everything's starting to click. We actually are maybe 1 or 2 pieces away from seriously challenging Buffalo the rest of the year. Hey,
right, Buffalo has an injury.
Maybe they're vulnerable. Miami stinks. Right. The Jets stink. Like, ooh, dude, now's our shot. Like, let's go for it. That's what you do. I just think now this feels a lot like, to me, agents heavily involved, using the Patriots. The Jets are the favorite for Micah Parsons. The Jets are not trading for Micah Parsons. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just, hey, they have a lot of money and they have a lot of picks and there's a quote unquote need there. I don't know. I just think the Patriots are going to be a deadline team where Mike goes, I actually think we could go make a run at the 5 seed, not just the 7 seed. And like, we could maybe be a round 2 team this year. And this guy's got a year of team control. This to me feels a little using the salary cap thing, and quotes that every GM says this.
Yeah.
Hey, for the right players.
He said exactly what he's supposed to say. You absolutely have to say that. Like, if you sat there and said, no, we would never do that, then your fan base would be like, so you don't believe in this team. He doesn't want to say that because you're right. You don't know if Drake goes supernova this year and whatever, different pieces come together. Barmore is Barmore of 2023 and Gonzalez is an all-pro again. And like those sorts of things, or an all-pro for the first time, then okay. Yeah. And then it's also the cost. Like, I'm sure they blanched at the cost, but everybody knew the cost for Hendrickson was going to be a 1 and a player. So you called and you were like, well, I can't believe you're asking for that. What are you offering? You're offering a 4? Like maybe you could get him for a 4 at the trade deadline, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like, all right.
We saw with Devontae Adams. We saw this exact same thing play out a year ago. It's the same concept. Older player, evaluate where you are. The Jets did a horrible job of evaluating where they were. In hindsight, they would have loved to have the extra 3, but like he didn't cost as much. They fixed the contract. This is just the way things work, guys. Like maybe it happens, but to me, it feels like Hendrickson's the one I think could get traded just because it is so like they're a mess.
Yeah.
But Terry and Micah, to me, I know Schefter had the report today. That feels like one final push of like, sure,
pay me my $33 million.
Pay me my money right now.
Yeah. It is interesting, and how the media does get used, if you will, in these scenarios about different things. And we've talked about this before. Like McLaurin's the one that makes the most sense for the Patriots. Just think about this from the Patriots' perspective. You're paying Milton Williams $60 million guaranteed over the next 2+ seasons. Like that's just locked down. You're giving him that. You gave Barmore his big extension. He's making $20+ million a year. I think he's got $40 million worth of guaranteed money still coming his way. Now you're going to add another defensive line piece, and you're going to pay your defensive line outrageous amounts of money, and then you're going to come back to the offense at some point and go, now we still need a tackle. We still need a wide receiver. And boy, if we had that money, it would certainly be nice. And that's why McLaurin to me would be the one that makes the most sense in terms of he could help your young quarterback now. He's such a great guy that you're not worried about plunking him in the locker room and that causing, like, everyone's going to know this is the dude. He's a guy. He leads. He works his ass off. Everybody's seen it. Like maybe he hits the wall earlier because he's 30. He's going to be 30 in September. But like for the short term, that's the one that probably makes the most sense of what it could do for your team. But again, it still comes down to the cost of what you have to pay. This team feels like there's still one more offseason away from being like, oh, yeah, we're all in on whoever's out there.
Yeah, this feels like just be a little patient. Let's re-eval in 6 weeks. Other guys become available. Teams crash out. There's a lot of things that are going to change over the next 8 to 10 weeks. So, I don't know. The Rams are out of it because Stafford's back actually isn't right. And they're like, all right, let's just get off the Devontae money. And like the Patriots are rolling and they trade. I don't know. I'd be just be cautious of going. You want to align your timeline up with like where your roster, where your age, your players are at. And it feels like right now they're kind of all in a lot of ways. But I still think you want to see Drake put a good 6-week stretch together. And then you feel really good about like, hey, now it's go time, as opposed to like, dude, what if you go trade for McLaurin and Drake stinks the first 6 weeks? You're going to be like, what did we just do? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying that is not like the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, we gave up our first-round pick, or we gave up an early what's going to turn out to be an early second because we're not what we thought we were going to be. And then you're like, oh, and we did that for a 30-year-old receiver. Before we move on to some more quarterback news around the league, we got to talk about PrizePicks. Incredible place to get your daily fantasy sports. It's a simple process. 2 players up to 6. You pick more or less on their stats, home runs, points, 3-pointers, whatever the case may be, rushing yards, touchdowns, etc. And you can cross them and to win up to 2,000 times your cash. It's really easy to do. They have little deals happening all the time where you can maybe mess with some of the I don't want to call them odds, whatever the stat numbers are. You can play with those a little bit. So just download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 off your first 5. You don't even have to win that first 5 to get the 50. That's just locked in barrel. So again, download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get 50 off your first 5. PrizePicks, run your game. This surprised me today, the news out of Indianapolis. And I guess it shouldn't, but it still did because there's so much invested in Anthony Richardson. But they have announced, Shane Steichen stood at the microphone and said, Daniel Jones is our starting quarterback, and he's got a long leash. He's our starting quarterback for this year. Now you're going to say that now. If he goes in the tank for 4 weeks, they'll pump up Anthony Richardson and be back in there. But to me, this was almost just like, I figured you just had to deal with Richardson and just do it and hope that it hits. And now it feels to me like they're just telling you, Will, it's not going to hit. It's not happening.
Yeah. This to me was that me and you like see eye to eye, but also I totally get the decision. I think that they think Richardson stinks. Like they showed you that last year. They went to Joe Flacco, Mike, and they were in it. I'll keep this one short. I don't think Daniel Jones is very good. I think that Shane Steichen's he's going to run the offense the exact way I want him to run it. We're going to run the football a lot. We think we're going to be good defensively. We have enough playmakers that I'll live with it. And I'm just going to scheme so much open. And Daniel's a 1-year guy. So if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. And then we'll go to Anthony if we need to. I just don't think they think Anthony's very good. And I think Shane Steichen's if we start 1-6, I'm going to be fired. So that's again, I'm not saying that's the right decision, but I just think they're telling you, again, we talk about this all the time. Show me, don't tell me. Oh, we love this player. We love this player. They're telling you they think he's not good. So to me, while I don't think Daniel Jones is very good, they're probably seeing something in practice that's telling them he either can't learn the playbook, isn't running, throwing in the right spots. You saw he makes the beautiful throw and AD Mitchell's offsides, but then the other parts of the game, looks terrible. I think Steichen doesn't, which is hilarious because they drafted him. I don't know what you expected. He was never going to be a scheme quarterback like that, but them and the Giants are in the same spot. They need to win games quickly because they should have been fired and they weren't.
It's crazy that they got this evaluation and maybe it's not even the evaluation because I think everybody evaluated him and said this is going to take some time. He's got incredible raw ability, but he played 12 games in college. He's not a precise passer yet. His mechanics are a little wonky. The best thing to do is if you're going to draft this kid to sit him and groom him. Instead, he played right away, and it's almost like that short-circuited the whole thing there in Indianapolis immediately. And again, you get the lure of it because he did some things in the preseason, and he did some things when he was even playing in that rookie year where you're like, holy crap. Unfortunately, it's more about holy crap. It's about can you consistently make the right plays? I mean, he completed 47% of his passes last year. That's 1980 numbers, 1975 numbers.
It's pretty damn bad.
So yeah, disappointing. Can't imagine that they can salvage that there.
We'll play at some point this year.
Yeah, because I don't think Daniel will make it through a full year. He's had health problems his whole career too.
This has gotten Zach Wilson to Miami or Denver written all over it. Justin Fields to Pittsburgh, where it's they'll go somewhere with a good quarterback coach and say, hey, you're going to sit on the bench and hope you figure it out. I think it's more likely it's Trey Lance than it is Sam Darnold. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I would at this point tend to agree wholeheartedly. When we were texting earlier today, you were like, Caleb Williams. You want to talk about Caleb Williams? I will say I didn't see the game as it was happening. I went back and watched the cut-ups of it. I know it's preseason, so we see preseason heroes all the time. The decisiveness with which he played, was something that I think if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you have to love. And it has to give you hope that this is not lost, that Ben and Caleb are going to work together and this is going to go in the right direction. Again, just a preseason game. You're not going to make, but it just looked a lot better than it did at any point last year.
So I have two quick thoughts. It's more of I just wanted to bring it up because I think there's been a lot of negative Caleb coverage for a while. Here's my two thoughts. One, I agree with you. I thought very nice job playing in rhythm, balls out on time, 1, 2, 3 balls out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls out, confident, decisive with the ball. I also feel last year in the preseason he looked really good. And he did a lot. This was a lot more NFL throws than last year, the infamous Bengals play where it's he ran around for an hour and a half. Caleb will do that. So I also think he's had really bad moments in practice. He's had really good moments. He's going to be an up and down. He's going to be a little all over the place. I do think that was a nice stepping stone. I hope he sees, oh, this works. Let me just trust my offensive coordinator. We have a ton of talent. We have a good line, good defense. We should be a good team. Just run the offense. My only fear is that a lot of base coverages, a lot of opening script type of stuff. What happens in the third quarter? Fourth quarter, we gotta make a play, and tensions get a little heightened. So I thought it was a nice, solid, good amount of hey, let's sit on that now. Let's live in a nice positive moment and let's move forward. I just also think preseason is such a bad indicator that it's really difficult to get too excited. But I think it's just a nice hey, good positive NFL throws in time in rhythm. Now let's continue to do that.
Yeah, it's is he going to be willing to take the steps necessary to master Ben's offense and play quarterback the way Ben wants him to play? And I think Ben will not going to he's not going to make him just be Jared Goff back there. He's far too good of an athlete and has a better arm than Jared does to limit him to that thing. But like, let's master the basics first, and then we'll see if we can advance you. I did find one thing interesting about the way Johnson has coached the offense, or how he's given him the playbook. And you talk to people in Chicago, and it's interesting to hear them talk about, like, they basically, this has been a fire hose. Like, they're giving him everything. And every day is almost like new install, and like, here's new stuff. And like, they're trying to find out what works, what doesn't work. I don't know if that's the right way to do it.
It's almost like I said that about the Patriots and how Mike Vrabel is trying to sit there and say, like, who can I trust? Who can I bring in a foxhole with me, and throw a lot at you and say who can handle it and who can't. Yep. Weird, Mike. It's weird how that works.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But certainly, even though it was a preseason, a positive step taken there. Lastly, before we go, the Cincinnati Bengals, we already talked about the Trey Hendrickson thing and the way that's gone. We've talked about that for months and months and months and months, for years now, whatever. They scapegoated Lou Anarumo. They decided that Lou Anarumo, his scheme, his
the Mahomes stopper?
Yeah, I guess some of the young players, he didn't always mesh with some of the young players, or he pulled the plug on young players quicker than maybe they wanted to, or at least that's what they're trying to say now in the aftermath. They turned it over to Al Golden. We've heard from you. You are not a fan of Al Golden.
I'm not.
The Cincinnati Bengals defense, again, preseason, looks like the same Cincinnati Bengals defense it was last year. In fact, they may look worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I obviously always say, like, preseason, we talked a lot about it earlier this week, of like confirming priors or pre-draft evaluations or pre-off-season evaluations, all that stuff. Not only do they look like a group with lacking talent, they look like a group that has no idea what they're doing. And that's a problem. I understand, like, there's a lot to be excited about the Bengals from like a TV, entertainment, sports center, fantasy football perspective. They've got that four-headed monster, if you will, of like Joe Jamar T, and if you want to throw like the backs and some of the other receivers and tight ends in there, like, totally get it. Shamar Stewart, like, actually has looked good in camp, and like, totally fun player. And Logan Wilson was a good player at one point. And when Trey's healthy, like, he's an amazing defensive end. As a group, they stink. They're the worst group in the league, or one of the 2 or 3 worst groups in the league. The O-line looks horrible. And Joe's gotten banged up a lot, and he's played through it. But like, they're a team, but then a coach on the hot seat. To me, Mike, like, unless something changes drastically and they look like a different group to start the season, they're going to have to win every game 48-45, which they can do at points. But like, they just kind of feel like a 7 or an 8 win team. And I told you last year, we talked about it, I would have blown it up at the deadline, recapped, drafted, had 3 first-round picks, because you would have gotten picks for Hendrickson and all these guys. You build your core. You would have the same core you have now, where you had all this draft capital and money to go be like, let's regroup. Let's do a quick 12-month reboot before Burrow's contract kicks in. Instead,
I honestly don't have much to add to it. It feels like I've been trying to convince myself, because I'm such a fan of Burrow, Chase, that whole thing, the way he plays, just the whole thing. But I'm the more I read, talk to people, watch, the more I think I can't convince myself that they're a playoff team. And the championship window, as Joe said, is open as long as I'm the quarterback here. Well, yes and no, Joe, because you can be awesome, but if that unit is that bad, like, all they have to do is be the 20th best unit in football.
25th.
And you're a playoff team, but they might be the 30th, or they might be the 32nd, and that's a disaster.
Pittsburgh and Cleveland's offenses aren't going to be great, and I get that. But it's not just about competing in your division. And I know it's kind of counterintuitive, and it's like the Ravens games are always, really fun with them. Okay, cool. They open against Cleveland, right? Like, should be fine. I don't think Jacksonville's offense is great, but like, I like Liam Cohen and Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas against that defense. Minnesota offense should be pretty good. Sean Payton against this defense, the Lions, Packers, Steelers, Jets, but then Ben Johnson comes in, you get the Steelers again, then New England. Then it's like Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami. They scream 8 to 9 wins, and it's like they're the fun. Ooh, don't let them get in the playoffs if they get hot. And I did that to myself last year, and I won't do it again. I won't make that mistake.
So I'm going to try to remember that when I talk about the Baltimore Ravens when we preview the playoffs and who we're going to take in the playoffs and divisions and whatnot, because they were a team that I was all behind, and then they kept doing the same thing they've done to me.
Do it to yourself again.
I don't know. I'm not. I can't reveal where I'm at, but I could be down that ugly road again. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the All 32 podcast. For those listening to the show, we assume you're subscribing, but if you're not, please do that. Like and leave a review. For those watching the show on CLNS, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel for Patriots content and shows like this that are not just Patriots, but also cover the league. Also, please make sure to turn on notifications so you know the instant a new episode drops. We will see you in a couple days. Until then.